Welcome to another episode of the Flood Channel. I'm your host, Beatriz Martinez. It's already flash flood season, and whenever Mother Nature unleashes a couple of thunderstorms, some parts of the county are prone to flash flooding. In this episode, we're going to talk about how you can stay flash flood safe. I'm here in the northwest part of the valley at Floydland Park, where we've already seen some flash flooding in the area. Monsoon thunderstorms began dropping rain in northwest Las Vegas overnight, July 25th. By the time most people awoke, floodwaters were making their way downhill and into the flood control system. The water went into the storm drains where it could, and in places where facilities are not yet in place, it stayed on the road. As quickly as the water appeared on Brent Lane, it subsided and found its way into a nearby basin at Floydland Park, but it left behind rocks, mud, and debris for the city to clean up. In just over an hour, the water had eroded the sides of the road and had damaged some landscaping. Some parked vehicles had to be shoveled out, and one home experienced minor flooding during the event. The scene on Brent Lane looked similar to flooding in 2013 on nearby Grand Teton. But Teton's flooding was far worse. That summer, a wildfire had severely damaged soil on Mount Charleston. In August, a huge rainstorm sat over the mountain for hours, producing massive amounts of runoff. The water was contained in the Kyle Canyon Detention Basin, but the channels were not yet connected downstream. As the basin drained, water went underground for about a mile, but came rushing out onto Grand Teton at Grand Canyon Road. The basin was 30 feet deep with water, and that meant as it drained, water ran down Grand Teton for 3 days. The city and the Regional Flood Control District worked quickly to move up plans and fix Grand Teton. 2 projects were completed, one on either side of US 95. That means the connections are now in place underground to prevent the type of flooding we saw back then. And this summer, Grand Teton has remained dry. It's important to remember that the streets are part of our flood control system. Brent Lane actually takes floodwaters away from businesses and homes. However, when water's on the street, it's still dangerous, and we're working to fix that. This summer, work began on a $4.2 million flood control project. This project will take the floodwaters on Brent Lane and put them underneath the road. That way, residents can be saved from the floodwaters. However, until it's finished next June, residents should still be cautious when there's thunderstorms in the area.
Lake Mead is full of life, a seemingly endless aquatic parade, attracting and sustaining busy desert creatures. It's one of the most diverse ecosystems in Nevada, with species found nowhere else on Earth. But every time soap suds run down your driveway, oil drips in the streets, fertilizer washes off your lawn, or random trash gets swept in our storm sewers, their home gets a little uglier. They get a little sicker. If we don't take simple steps to change our ways, soon you'll wonder where all our friends have gone. It's time to clean up our act, Southern Nevada. To get your home or business lake-friendly certified, visit belakefriendly.com.
Mind the road. Flash flood season is here.
We have all seen the devastation that floods can cause to homes and lives in Clark County. Has your neighborhood or home ever been affected by major storms? Federal flood insurance is a smart and cost-effective investment if you think your home is vulnerable. Some easy-to-understand assessments can help determine if you need flood insurance. Call your insurance agent or call 1-888-CALL-FLOOD or visit the Regional Flood Control District's website for guidance. See if flood insurance makes sense for you.
We're here at Floyd Land Park where we have 2 detention basins behind me. The day Brent Lane flooded, these detention basins had over 12 feet of water. Eventually, that water made its way down our flood control system network of 612 miles of channels. These channels can be very dangerous. And this year, we held our annual press conference to show just how dangerous these channels can be.
So why are we here today? Well, the monsoon moisture is coming. It's flash flood season. July, August, and September are the months we really worry about as far as flash floods goes. It's this time of year you need to be vigilant. You need to start thinking about flash flood safety even before the rains hit. You need to think about what you're going to do and how you're going to react if flood flows are impacting your community. And so talk to your kids about it. These flood flows are dangerous. Tell your kids to stay away from channels and storm drains. Don't go in detention basins. Just even when they're dry, they can be dangerous. So don't go into those flood systems. Let them do their job.
The press conference was held this year at Wet n Wild, Las Vegas. The water park is a great community partner, allowing firefighters to train at the facility to simulate conditions found in a wash or a flood control channel.
Last year in 2016, Clark County Fire responded to 56 incidents that required swift water rescue services to waterways in and around the Las Vegas Valley. As a rule, if you get in the water, the chance of survival is decreased. Like some of my co-speakers have said, you've got debris you're wrestling with. It's not like swimming in a pool. You're literally surviving and fighting for your life every second that you're in the water.
Firefighters were able to pull someone out of the Las Vegas wash during a storm event. Here, you can see a rescue take place in the upper left portion of the screen. You can also see just how filthy that water is during a flood. The washes are most dangerous for the people who call them home.
Help Us Southern Nevada runs the Mobile Crisis Intervention Team, and that's a team that goes into the washes, the storm drains, places not meant for human habitation to encourage clients to seek services. So we go out, we get the notices days ahead of time that we have potential for flooding, we have potential for rain. And so we go out into the storm drains and we try to warn the clients, talk to them about, hey, you know, the flooding's gonna happen, you need to get to higher ground. If you want services, we're willing to, at that point, get them out of there, remove them, take them to shelters. If they're not in there, then we will actually post signs up. So we're not out there just the day of, but even, you know, days before, trying to warn clients.
We go to all the tunnels that are in this valley, all the storm drains and washes, to warn homeless individuals that may be residing there that there may be flooding in the near future. The dangers of living in a storm drain are the fact that the water arrives so quickly that you have very little time to get out. And not only that, you have items that are being swept into these storm drains that literally become like missiles in the water, and they can injure you to the point where you can't make it out, and then drowning becomes a real possibility. We post signs, we meet with the individuals whom we have built a relationship with, and we warn them that they need to get their stuff out. We also offer to take any homeless individual living in a tunnel or storm drain to a local shelter so that they can get out of harm's way. But also, after the event has occurred, we will go back and do well checks to make sure that the individuals that we had encountered earlier are okay. And then also, once again, to offer services in the hopes that they'll accept services and they will exit homelessness.
Firefighters use one of the Wet n Wild slides to show how hard it is to move against the running water. Flash floods are so dangerous because people underestimate what water can do to them or to their cars.
Most flood-related deaths occur in vehicles. Any encounter with fast-moving floodwaters has the potential to be deadly. As we like to say in the Weather Service, turn around, don't drown. We live by those words. If driving into flooded roadways, you don't know what's going on under there. The road could be washed away, as it has in many cases around here, and oftentimes the water's a lot deeper than you think it is.
This flash flood season, it's important to monitor information. Weather can change rapidly in the summer monsoon months of July, August, and September.
If you receive a wireless emergency alert on your phone, warning of a flash flood, that means you're in the threat area that we've outlined as a possible threat for the flash flood.
We have our Flood Spot app, which is an app you can download to any mobile device, either Android or Apple. That Flood Spot app will tell you where the problems are occurring in your community. So we encourage you to download it, but not only download it, but to use it. It's a crowdsourced app, and so the more people to use it, the more effective it'll be. If you see flooding occurring in your neighborhood and it's safe to do so, take a photo of it, send it in through the app, and that way we can share it to others that have the app and inform everyone of what's going on out in the community. If you want real-time information, you can follow us on Twitter. It's @RegionalFlood. We're constantly sending tweets out about flood safety and flood insurance, which is available to anyone, whether you live in a flood zone or not. And but during storm events, we're actually monitoring our 200 gauges we have throughout Clark County and relaying that information through Twitter to the different to whoever is following us.
I dare you. I dare you to change the world. Yeah, you. Getting that college education. I dare you to be somebody important. Like be a teacher. Or a reality TV star. I dare you to stand up here. To call the shots. To be a role model.
An inspiration. An innovator.
To be a teacher.
Think you can change my life?
Make me excited about science like you. Have a career that really means something? Then do it. I dare you.
What we do to the planet, we do to ourselves. You can help keep America beautiful. Visit KAB.org.
The Regional Flood Control District's annual Flash Flood Safety News Conference isn't all we do to bring awareness to the dangers of flash flooding. This year, we went out to local city councils and county council meetings to show presentations on the dangers of flash flooding. Here's a look at the City of Las Vegas's meeting.
During the summer months, we can quickly see changing weather patterns to bring thunderstorms and flash flooding. All of the government jurisdictions have worked with our partners at the Regional Flood Control District to improve our preparedness for flash flooding. The city is a much safer place than it has been in the past because of all the work that has been done. Steve, I want to present you with this proclamation making July Flash Flood Awareness Month in the City of Las Vegas.
Well, thank you for those comments, and thank you, Mayor and Council, for this proclamation. It is that time of year again. Flash flood season is upon us. July, August, and September are our flash flood months. So this is the time of year we try to raise awareness of the dangers of flash flooding and do proclamations such as these and reach out to the community so they understand that these flood flows can be dangerous and deadly if you don't respect them. And so we've come a long way over the years. Over the last 3 decades or so, we've spent about $1.8 billion, billion with a B, on flood control facilities just in Clark County. About $557 million of that is right here in the city of Las Vegas. You need to keep in mind that these flood flows are very dangerous. You don't want to drive through flooded areas. 6 inches of water is enough to sweep someone off their feet. A foot of water is enough to float most cars. So it's very dangerous to drive through these flooded areas. We just ask that you avoid them as much as possible and avoid the flood control system as well. I know it's an attractive thing to go down and see the water flowing. It's something you don't see every day, but these channels are very dangerous. They're not intended to have people around them, and so just stay away from them and let the system do their job. It's been a very busy morning this morning. Henderson has received a lot of rain this morning. We have a detention basin that's got 14 feet of water in it right now, out by the Henderson Executive Airport, which is a really big basin. So that's a lot of water that it's captured already. So we're keeping an eye on the skies. We kind of do that, and these tools are available to you as well. We have our FloodSpot app that you can download to any mobile device. There's lots of good information on that app from the Weather Service, as well as information regarding stormwater quality, flood insurance, all kinds of things like that are on the app. It's also crowdsourced based, so the more people that download it and use it, the more effective it'll be. But if you're out driving around and you see some flooding going on the street, and it's safe to do so, you can take a photo of it and send it in through that app, and we can share it with other people around the city so that they understand that there's issues going on in that area. These are some of our flood channels. This is actually an energy dissipator, so these steps were built on purpose so that water could flow down these steps, and it actually reduces the energy in that flow and slows the water down. This is the Flamingo Wash just downstream of Flam. But you can see that these flows have a lot of debris in them. They have they're dirty, there's pollutants in them. You don't necessarily want to find yourself in these flows. If you do wind up in them, it's almost always a deadly situation. There's very little chance of survival if you wind up in one of these washes, and so that's why we are very strongly sending out the message to stay away from these channels and avoid them at all costs.
In 1985, the legislature had a big fight over the subject of sales taxes, because the legislature had before it a proposal from Clark County to increase the sales tax 0.25%. But it was a bloody fight. It lasted a long time. In fact, the sponsor of the bill lives in California now, but he was a builder, and he recognized that there were problems we could not foresee, that he did. So the fight ended, we passed the bill barely, and now we have raised over $1 billion just from that quarter-cent sales tax. But that is why we have this protection we have now. So you look back 32 years on a real fight over an issue that was important to both sides. One side didn't want to raise taxes at all. Another one said, yeah, raise taxes, but spend it frugally. And that is what has happened. And without that, I'm afraid we would have had billions and billions of dollars worth of destruction. Probably would not have become a community at all. We would have been washed away like Goldfield was. So for that, thank you very much for your work and for husbanding that money properly, making sure it is spent correctly. Thank you.
Those words are so important, and I know from the work that you're doing with the rapid growth and expansion both in the Southwest, in Henderson, and in the Northwest in Ward 6, projects that have been ongoing there are so significant to saving lives. What is happening in the Northwest, where we had that runoff after the fire, is what's underway right now in the Northwest in Ward 6, please.
A lot of projects have been completed up in the Northwest. There's others that are on the books that are going to be starting here soon. And the mayor's referring to the Carpenter One fire we had several years ago, and we had a burn scar up on Mount Charleston. Anytime you lose vegetation due to a fire, it increases the risk of flooding and debris flow. And that indeed happened. We had a significant storm event right up on the mountain on the burn scar. A lot of that flow was captured by the existing Kyle Canyon detention basin, which again, Jerry Walker was very instrumental in getting that cleaned up. There are tons and tons and tons of debris had to be hauled out of that detention basin after that storm event. But the problem we had with that storm event was that there was portions of the system on Grand Teton that weren't built yet. And so the water drained out of the detention basin and right onto the roadway. And those of you who were here then may remember that there was flows going for about 3 days down Grand Teton as that basin had to drain out. There was a lot of water. It was 30 feet deep, I think, in the detention basin. It took about 3 days to drain it. And so that water was running down the roadway. Even though the storm had passed and the skies had cleared and the sun was shining, there was still water down that road. And so since then, the Public Works Department has done a great job getting those facilities designed and constructed. I'm pleased to report that both of those facilities are now in place. So if we had that same storm event that we had back then, the flows would just stay under the roadway, and the people along Grand Teton wouldn't even know that it's raining. And so that's a good thing. And then there's other projects along actually We just had the grand opening of the new ramp at the Centennial Bowl. That's a great transportation project, but I want to point out that there was about $12 million contributed to that project for flood control. And so a major storm drain was built through that interchange, which will be extended up US 95 on the west side of US 95 all the way to Grand Teton, capture all the flow that's coming out of Providence and those communities up there, and take it down safely into that system along the Beltway and on out to Las Vegas Wash. So lots of work has been done up there. We're pretty confident that things are going to be much better up there as far as storm flow goes. And I think, again, kudos to the Public Works Department here for getting those projects designed and constructed.
Thank you so much for all that you do. And former Councilman Larry Brown, who's now a county commissioner, is chair of that commission, and so we appreciate everything he's been doing, but you've just been super in leading this and being responsive to the needs of our community. We are so far ahead of where we were 25 years ago.
Flash flood season runs through September. Make sure you make smart choices this flash flood season. To help you out, you can download our app, FloodSpot. You can follow us on Twitter at Regional Flood, or go to our website, regionalflood.org, so you can see the rainfall falling in real time.